Want help to grow your business? Download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.
Hi, I'm Beaumont and welcome to another episode of Secrets Exposed. This is the series that takes you up close and personal with leading business experts. And our topic for this interview is how to build a business outside a big city. That coming up in just a moment. My special guest today is successful business owner Jess Jones, and she's going to be talking about how to build a business outside a big city. Jess, welcome.
Thanks, Dale. It's lovely to be here.
So tell us, who is this episode really for?
Yes, this is really good for those who are living outside of a metropolitan area. So whether it's regional, rural, or a small regional city, this is ideal for them, but a lot of the tips do apply to all business owners.
Okay, and so they could be in a village somewhere. We have a lot of people that watch our videos or listen to BRiN all around the world.
Yep.
Or country area, regional people. So it could be anywhere from a few hundred to a few thousand or maybe tens of thousands, but certainly not cities that have millions of people, right?
That's right, yep.
Okay, so do you think that you're at a disadvantage or an advantage by being in a smaller city?
There's probably a couple of disadvantages if you're living outside the big smoke, and one would be a pretty important one, which is to have a strong internet connection. That's not always something you can get outside of the city. Also, sometimes there can be a lack of infrastructure, so you might need to travel by bus to be able to get to the closest train station. You might not even have a bus. There might be other means that you have to get there, so that can be a struggle sometimes as well.
Okay, but we're going to focus on the positives because there are a lot of advantages, right, about being in a smaller city. So what are some of the advantages?
Yeah, there's plenty, but the first few that sort of come to mind is being able to be part of a local community. So there is a real sense of belonging when you are around other locals that you can see down the street, say, g'day to in the morning on your walk. There's definitely that sort of advantage of being part of something special that you don't really have when you're in the city.
And also lifestyle benefits as well.
Definitely.
And what about even less competition? Is that something else that's an advantage?
Absolutely. So in the city, obviously there's a lot of noise, around you all the time. There's a lot going on in the marketplace as well. Advertising, it's all around you. So I think when people make the decision to move to a regional area or go for the lifestyle benefits, a tree change or a sea change, it really does help your business as well. There are so many benefits.
Okay, and another one as well around you can work more closely with kind of government bodies or maybe other support, that support mechanisms that are there with the community. Tell us more about those.
Yeah, that's right. So you have the advantage of being able to connect with your local council or chamber of commerce, and they often provide some really good resources, depending on the council, that can help support your business and support your career as well, depending on what it is you're doing. So often they hold their own networking events, so you can meet other local businesses. They hold workshops and seminars, and you can definitely work a lot closely with them rather than if you're in a big city competing with thousands of businesses wanting support.
Okay, and so you live outside a big city.
That's right.
But you have customers that are national and even, I'm sure, maybe global as well. So I think the thing to really make sure that people understand is now with regards to technology and all of the wonderful tools we have to connect with people, you really, unless you have to physically see your customers and if you're not a dentist or someone like that, then you can service clients and from really anywhere in the world, right? So
that's right.
Technology is a wonderful thing.
Definitely, yes.
Okay, now tell us a little bit about have you got some examples, maybe let's start there, of businesses that you know that have become quite successful even being in a regional area?
Yeah, sure. So I'm lucky to have met quite a few business owners who have been in regional areas who have done really well and have had great success with their business. One that comes to mind is Tina Tower from BRiN. She has a tutoring business for preschoolers and has grown the business over 10 years. She lives in a small country town, very small population, and she's done incredible things and recently sold the business as well. So she's managed to do that and grow that business just living in a small town, nowhere near a big city.
And another one as well is an e-commerce business. It's called Bird's Nest. Tell us a bit about that, because no longer can you just run service-based businesses remotely, but now with even products-based businesses with e-commerce, and you've obviously got shipping companies that can send parcels everywhere. So you can even now run product-based businesses from small cities too. Tell us about that.
Yep. So, and again, pretty competitive market now because there are many businesses doing that. No longer do you need a bricks and mortar shop front to be able to sell, clothing or products, as you mentioned. So, Bird's Nest has done particularly well in growing her business. Jane, I believe the founder's name is, over the past few years, and she's done it all again from a regional location.
Okay, but it has a national presence, really, just through the internet.
Yeah.
And I know a big bedding company in America as well that's specifically set up in a regional sort of area because they wanted to be really outside of the big cities and right in the heart of America, so they could send their products everywhere.
Yeah.
So you really don't have to be in a big city anymore to have the same benefits.
That's right.
All right, so in a few moments' time, we're going to talk about there's 6 steps to be how to run a great business outside of a big city. We'll go into them in more detail later, but just tell us what are the six things.
Yeah, sure. So it's communication, connection, community, customer service, content, and contribution.
Okay, so we're going to take a short break. When we get back, we're going to go into these 6 steps in more detail. So keep watching. Welcome back. We're speaking with Jess Jones about how to build a business outside of a big city, and we've just covered the 6 C's. Let's quickly, again, for people taking notes, go through what they are, and then we'll go into them in more detail. So number 1.
Yes, communication.
Number 2.
Connection.
Connection. Number 3.
Community.
Community. Number 4.
Customer service.
Number 5.
Content.
And number 6.
And contribution.
Contribution. Okay, let's talk about the first one, communication. So what does that mean, and why is that your top tip?
I think this is something that some business owners forget to do. So it's about going back to the beginning and taking a look at your customers and really understanding who they are, where they spend their time, what they spend it on. But it's about digging deeper and looking at their psychographics as well as their demographics. So learning about what makes them tick, what their values are, what keeps them up at night, how they feel and how they spend their free time. And then looking at the best way to deliver the content that you have that you want to put out for them.
Okay. Now, another part of communication you talk about is communicating with the media. So, being in a smaller town or city, are there still media opportunities there?
Definitely, and you have the advantage of being able to have that cut through as well, because again, there's not as much competition. I think it's vital to build a really strong relationship with your local media outlets and think about what your story is and what your pitch is and the best way to get it out there. So you don't necessarily have to spend, thousands of dollars to work with a publicist to do so. You can start off by creating your own press release once you really become clear on what your story is and what makes you unique and what will make a customer buy from you over someone else.
And there's lots of either newspapers or sometimes there's even magazines that are produced in smaller cities as well, and oftentimes they look for experts in different areas to write regular a column. So tell us a bit about that, and is that something that you'd recommend to people?
Yes, definitely. So a couple of years ago, myself, I wanted to start writing more, and I did ask some local publications if I could write to them, and the first one I asked said yes. So now I do write a monthly article, a business article for that magazine, and I think the key is to always ask, because otherwise the answer will always be no. So getting yourself out there and building those relationships with your local media representatives and getting your voice heard and getting published will all help your business and build your personal brand as well.
Okay, before we move on to number 2, any other tips for point number 1, communication?
Just to be really clear on who your audience is and how they best want their content served to them.
Okay, great. Number 2 is connection. So what does that actually mean in this context?
Yeah, so as we mentioned, with technology these days, there's many ways to connect with people. There's, I think, an importance, though, to put on connecting offline as well, but we'll start with online. So the best thing to do when it comes to social media, for instance, is to choose 2 to 3 platforms and do them really well rather than spreading yourself too thin.
To continue enjoying this presentation, download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.